to really do a computer, a serious computer, eventually we need a big organization. And in fact, from our labs in Florence, at Lens in Florence, we have created a company with Eni, which is a big company to really reach the goal of building the computer.
Yes, sure. But you know, in my institute also, we have created a startup, which is now a big startup. But once again, it's good to try to develop this computer, but we cannot stop doing basic research. And this is why it's based on your lab in Firenze, because your lab in Firenze is also doing basic research, right?
Yes, and this is the beauty of the situation,
Exactly.
because we are entangled, I can say, in friendship and also in competing and discussing different aspects. For instance, as you know, in the lab in Florence, we work with this atom ytterbium, which I knew because it's also a clock, measuring time with 1 billionth of seconds of precision. And so it's not perturbed and could be a real important computer.
Yes, sure. But I think that we are exactly in the state where everyone is trying a different atom, a different method, etc. And we don't know yet if there is a method that will be better than another one. And my guess is that maybe for certain problems, a certain kind of quantum computer will be useful. And for other problems, it will be another quantum computer. We are in this very exciting moment where everything is still open.
However, in the lab, we can see develop techniques for cooling down atoms almost at 0 Kelvin degrees, or interrogate them, shine pulses of light, creating possible quantum logics, and so it's something that really you can see. The single atom trapped and then creating questions to this single quantum bit.
Well, there is no doubt that this is absolutely amazing. You remember the time when we were trying to cool down atoms? These experiments in the 80s were really elementary compared to what we can do nowadays. And this is what makes our job so interesting. And there is still many more progress to do. This is why young people should not hesitate to embark into this kind of studies.
Yes, this is what makes us, I think, confident, because usually you have a progress both in science and technology as a result of surprises.
Yes.
So some good surprise could happen. This is a fascinating proof of concept, because also working with light, this means that we can export maybe a bit from one atom, from one computer to another one.
Absolutely.
And so combine the two fields of communication, quantum communication, which was started thanks to your entanglement of photons, and then combine different computers and then reaching a sort of a quantum internet, for instance.
Yeah, sure, you are right, and I am impressed by the fact that some people are able already to distribute entangled photon on commercial networks of optical fibers, and so it's impressive. So it tells us, yes, at one point we could use the networks already existing to develop a kind of quantum internet. But this is a little, it's a dream at the moment, but not a dream for so long ago.
What you say that eventually we must reach a situation of a really all solid state integrated systems and things like this is correct, and is also the reason why from this, if you want to say, proof of concept that we develop in the lab here in Florence, we then tried the adventure working with a real industrial partner. This is Eni Quantic with Eni, because really you need, practical people.
Yes, well, it's a very interesting, as I said, it's a very interesting moment when the principles developed in academic labs are tried at a more industrial level. But again, we need still to have new ideas in basic research.
Turning the story in a positive way, the so-called, in a wrong word, applied research or technological research should, like in our case, not be separated by the ecosystem of fundamental physics, where you can inquire nature and see how to work. For instance, let me say that, as you know, we from our atoms, we create atoms in a Rydberg states. So we make them bigger, bigger, and bigger in such a way they interact. And so on that we can create the entanglement. But this again was an original observation of Enrico Fermi, who it was really unbelievable because
Yes.
Everybody thinks that Fermi was a nuclear physicist, just a nuclear physicist with a bomb, and so on. But with the Fermi statistics at the beginning, he introduced all the field of semiconductor physics. And in the end of his life, he forced, for instance, the University of Pisa, together with the Nature's Council and Olivetti at that time, to create a computer, a big computer now, and then reducing the size of the tubes that he was using to make computation. Now we reach the dimension of the atom and then the quantum physics.
Well, if you want to tell me that Enrico Fermi was a genius, I certainly agree with you. But you speak of this Rydberg. We also use a Rydberg interaction with different atoms. And once again, you don't know, I don't know if one atom at the end will show to be better than the other one for reasons we have not yet fully understood. And this is why we still need to investigate the situation. I think more generally, radiation, because light is also only a kind of radiation. You know that our colleagues now, with superconducting circuits, they can also have radio frequency photons. And they are trying to repeat the kind of experiments we were doing 30 or 40 years ago. And now they try to do it with radio frequency photons. I think this is the beauty of physics. You demonstrate things in one domain, and then people in another domain can reuse the same ideas. And at the end, it's different technological applications, I think. But it's always the same physics at the root. I think this is what is wonderful. And what is wonderful in what we do is that atoms and photons are really elementary objects.
Yes, atoms and photons are such a system, such a simple system, but also tricky to really be, understood. But with this, we can create different situations. And we can say that all started with the intuition or the risk that Planck took to make the interpretation of the black body, and also for the several input progress given by Einstein, which also means that science is a long story. And science, this quantum mechanics, I must say, when I studied quantum mechanics 50 years ago, part of the story for me was something that I accepted, like we do with the dogma, because it was not obvious. Now I understand, maybe a little more, but that was science, a little bit philosophy, and people was in any case able to create a laser starting with that science. So it was an important technology which allowed us to study better, science. For instance, your famous experiment on the entanglement was also the result of the fact that you could excite the atoms from where you had the generation of the twin photons. You could excite with a laser. So it's always like this. It's a progress and it's a contribution of many people. At the end, we have a mainstream. And so I think that also now in our case, we don't know where we shall go.
No, but the fact that any progress allows you to go further is more general than that, because here you cite the example of the laser, and then the laser allows us to do new experiments, etc. But it's also important with ideas, because when you make progress in understanding, then you are ready to ask questions you could not even think about before. So I think this is the reason why some people say, oh, at the end we have discovered everything and there is nothing more to discover. This is ridiculous, because we know that each time we discover something, it opens new windows and it opens new fields.
Let me comment on the story that we are, how do you say, senior or mature or
Yes.
whatever. Well, in your wonderful Grand Palais museum, just a few weeks ago when I came for your entering the academy, I saw a wonderful exhibition of Matisse.
Yes, me too.
Yes, and well, we are similar, no? Light, we use light, different colors, and Matisse is the same. But this exhibition was in the last part of his life, which every day he said was an additional day. He was not expecting. But I was impressed by his sentence. How long our old age can last doesn't matter. Important that in any case I will die young. And so we are so lucky that we work in a field where we can stay young and I hope creative.